JT highlights from the NATO summit plus commentary. Before we begin, JT's gonna make it very clear to the world that climate change is the biggest threat we face. You're gonna wanna watch this video to the very end because the wording that he uses about where we're at is extremely troubling. And of course, it's all about climate change. Let's go.
Canada and NATO have long recognized an indisputable fact. Climate change is not only an existential environmental threat, but one of the defining security issues of our time. Rising sea levels and increasingly frequent and intense natural disasters threaten security infrastructure like ports and military bases that keep our alliance safe. Climate change risks creating a less stable, less prosperous, and less secure world.
I got some data to share, and this is gonna blow your mind. Canada's carbon emissions represents 1.5% of total global emissions. JT says that climate change is making the world less safe, and it's all because of carbon emissions. The world's militaries, with the US being number one, is responsible for 5.5% of total global emissions. That is 3 times Canada's total emissions. The US military consumes 100 million barrels of oil every single year. Isn't it funny that the military is causing a less safe world because of climate change? Let's not forget that Canada charges a carbon tax and GST on top of the carbon tax, and the US charges nothing.
We've placed a price on pollution that simultaneously reduces our emissions and puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians, showing every step of the way that good climate policy is good economic policy.
For those that don't know this, the US is reducing its carbon emissions without carbon pricing. What we are doing is getting to net zero by making your bank account get to net zero as fast as possible. You're gonna wanna listen closely to what JT says next.
That are committed to addressing the security challenges posed by the climate crisis. Canada stands with our NATO allies. Canada will always defend the values of democracy, freedom, and the rule of law, as it is more important today than it ever has been. My friends, we must be clear-eyed about the current state of global affairs. The long peace after the Second World War is over. We're living in an increasingly dangerous, unstable, and complex world. Cyber warfare, resurgent authoritarian forces, expanding regional conflicts, and everywhere increasing impacts of climate change, all represent growing threats to our collective security and our continued prosperity. This is the sobering reality we must all face. That's why Canada will continue to work closely with like-minded allies to tackle these challenges directly, to build a better world for all.
Holy guacamole! The calm is gone, and if you listen closely, you would have heard that the war is on carbon, and guess who's responsible for all that carbon? This is a lot to unpackage. I'd love to hear from you and what you think this all means. Leave a comment, and I got part 2 coming. More money for Ukraine coming out next. Thanks for watching.